Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today our focus is the upper body. We're going to be focusing mainly on the core, the trunk and the arms. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, pause the stream when you need to take a rest. You ready to do this? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing towards the bottom end of the mat. Check that your feet are stacking in parallel underneath your hips. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and float your left arm out in front of you, fingertips looking up towards the ceiling. Take the right hand and grasp the forefingers, gently pulling them back and taking a little stretch into the wrist line and the forearm. Then release the fingers, but gently cut them from the front and pull the fingertips in towards your body line. Let's repeat that on the other side. Extend the right arm out in front of you, fingertips looking up towards the ceiling as you gently tug them back towards your shoulder line. Then release the forefingers, hold from the front and gently pull the fingers in towards your body line, palm looking in towards your breast line. Then extend both hands out in front of you and start tracing a little circular release through the wrists. Then change it up and trace that circular release in the opposite direction. Float the arms into a T-frame and start tracing a circular pattern, warming up through the shoulder girdle, keeping that tailbone tucked under, belly button pulled in, spine nice and long. Let's take it in the opposite direction. Then drop the arms long and lengthened at your side and bring the left knee up to 90. Press your left palm into the knee, push down with the hand and resist with the knee as you float the right arm overhead towards the ceiling. Then change sides, pushing and resisting on the one side and extending and lengthening on the other side. Work actively, keep pushing and resisting. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more sets to go. Last set. We're going to take it into some parallel roll downs from here and then we'll play it up. If you're on the tall side, make sure that you've got enough room to extend out into a plank line. Keeping that parallel foot line, start with your chin line parallel to the floor. Take a big breath in and on an exhale, hollow out through your belly as you roll down one vertebra at a time, keeping the arms long and dangly towards the floor. Take a recovery inhalation and use a whole exhalation to peel back up to your start position. Find a steady rhythm of your own, mobilizing down with control through the core and control through the spine, making sure that you're syncing your movement to your breath. Whole exhalation peels you down. Feel that beautiful contraction in the core. Take a recovery inhalation and use a whole exhalation to peel back up. Stay here or add a layer on by walking out into a plank line the next time that you roll down. Pause in your plank line, nice and strong through the body. Walk back to your start position and peel back up with control. I'm setting a moderate pace. Find a pace that works for you, either speeding it up or slowing it down. Make sure when you've walked out into your plank line that you hold steady for a few seconds making sure that you're pushing the mat strongly away with your hands, strong through the shoulders, strong through the core. You're either going to stay here with your roll down coming into a plank, or you're going to add a third layer. The next time you walk into your plank line, take the left knee out to the side, peeking at it, and take the right knee out to the side before you walk back and roll your body back up to your start position. Roll it down, walk out into your plank line, hold the plank line steady, left knee out to the side, come back, right knee out to the side, come back. Find a pace that works for you. Make sure that you're working with strength. Seven. 6. 5. 4 more to go, and then we'll begin playing from a 4-point kneeling frame. Make sure that you're keeping your breath flowing nice and strong when you're coming into your plank frame. Let's do 2 more. Last one. From your plank line, drop the knees to the floor and set up a beautiful tabletop line on the mat, making sure that your hands are stacking underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Don't collapse your frame and your head. Keep pushing the mat strongly away and give me a long line through the neck and the spine, with your gaze softly down on the mat between the 2 index fingers. We're going to extend opposite arm and leg. Let's do left leg and right arm with the palm facing in towards the center line. Don't hyperextend. Give me a long line through the arm, the neck, the back, and the leg. Tap the wall in front of you and the wall behind you. Then start moving to a dynamic bird dog, bending the elbow and the knee towards the midline and coming back into extension, shooting for 10 repetitions. Exhaling as the knee and the elbow come in, and then inhaling as you extend the limbs back out, feeling a nice contraction in the core as you draw the elbow and the knee in. Once you've done your 10 repetitions, come back into extension and hold for 10 seconds, long through the arm, the neck, the core, and the leg. Ease your way into a kneeling frame from here. Shoulders, hips, and knees stacking in a long line. Hands, palms down on the top of your thighs. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, dip off the center line and float the arms towards the shoulder line, and then bring it back to your start position. Nice and strong through the core. Float the arms weightlessly up so that there's no tension. Make them light as a feather. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Come back to your 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. Let's work on the opposite side. Left Arm right leg coming into extension, palm facing in towards the center line. Try to hold for at least 10 seconds, tapping the wall in front of you and the wall behind you with your gaze down on the mat. Then start moving dynamically, drawing the knee and the elbow in towards the center line on the exhale. Once you've done 10 repetitions, you're going to find your extended line and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Come back down to the mat. Peel up. Find your side stretch flow, keeping that long line through the top of your thighs and the lower belly area as you dip off the center line so that you can feel that nice stretch all the way from the kneecaps to just below your breast line. Ease your way from here back into a plank line. We're going to work a little flow, and I will demo a 4-point kneeling option if you find the plank line too challenging. Step both legs back into the plank. You're going to give me a single leg lift on the left, floating up to about hip height. Then you're going to draw the knee in, tapping the right elbow, the left elbow, and come back into your leg lift. You're going to run through that sequence with fluidity. Leg up, right elbow, left elbow up. Right elbow, left elbow up. Right elbow, left elbow up. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Drop down into 4-point kneeling and give me a lift and lower on the left leg, little window wiper or a fire hydrant, drawing the knee up to about hip height and then floating the knee to hovering just off the floor. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Ground the left knee and float the right leg out behind you to about hip height. Keep the toe line soft. We're coming into an oil rigger. Bend the elbows, trying to bring your chin to hovering just off the floor and come back to your start position. So you're bending through the elbows almost like a little piston, trying to bring your chest and your chin as close to the floor as you can and floating back to your start position. Shooting for between 5 and 10 repetitions, keeping the belly button firmly pulled in towards the center line. Last one. Ease your way back from here into your side stretch. Floating off the center line and back. Float the arms, whisper softly up, more or less in line with your shoulders, and then whisper softly back down to maybe touch the fingertips to the top of your thighs. Keep looking for that stretch and that length through the top of your thighs into the hip flexors and the lower belly area. Sync your movement to your breath. Don't hold the breath. Find your way back to your 4-point kneeling frame. You're going to float the feet off the mat. You can cross one ankle in front of the other. We're going to work a slow, modified push-up. Think of that oil rigger that we used in the previous round. Bending the elbows really slowly, trying to come down as slowly as you can, maybe using 5 or 10 slow counts to hover just off the floor. and then coming back up in 5 or 10 counts. Just shooting for 5 slow push-ups. Almost think of yourself pushing the plunger in an injection and squeezing the liquid out and then drawing it back up. Keep hugging the elbows in towards the rib cage as you float your chin and your chest just off the floor, and then push back up to your start position. You should be feeling quite an intense burn into the triceps, arms, maybe quivering. All right, let's do one more slow one to come back down to the mat. Ease your way onto the belly, extending the arms out in front of you. Legs are soft and relaxed in parallel. Connect your forehead to the mat. And pretend that you've got a little marble underneath your nose. Roll the marble away from you to the front of the mat and start peeling up one rib at a time into the Superman line, hovering your arms and your legs off the mat with the bottom 3 ribs heavy into the mat. Lower belly and hip bones digging into the mat to hold that extended line, trying to tap the wall in front of you and the wall behind you while framing your ears on either side with your arms. Then swim freestyle by vigorously kicking the opposite arm and leg up and down, keeping the head framed. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Float softly back down to the mat to bend the left arm. Push the palm alongside your bosom and flip over onto your back, realigning yourself in the middle of the mat. Bend your knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat as if you were setting up a bridge line. Feet and knees hip-width distance apart. Spine begins in neutral. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, scoop or tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position so that your lower back imprints into the mat. Peel up off the shoulders and hold that scooped frame with the arms floating off the mat, reaching long and lengthened with your fingertips as if you were trying to reach for the edge of that mat. Hold that scooped or that hollow frame through your body. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Float softly back down to the mat and draw your left knee into table. Think of that standing dead bug that we used right in the beginning. Now we're going to do it from a supine position. Push the left palm into the left knee. Don't hug, push and resist so that you can feel a nice tug into the lower belly area, and float the right arm and leg into extension, hovering just off the mat, and then begin cycling through, bending and pushing on the one side and extending and lengthening on the other side, keeping your head connected to the mat and focusing on that push and that resist while you lengthen on the other side. Let's do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the soles of your feet to the mat, coming back into your scoop and hold, or extending the legs and making more of a hollow frame through your body, reaching long through the fingertips and the toes, bracing through the core as if somebody had thrown a big beach ball at your belly. Then softly hug the knees in towards the chest. Cradle rock your lower back out. Use that sideways rocking motion to roll over and set yourself back up in your original 4-point kneeling position on the mat. We're going to repeat that sequence on the other side. Step back into your plank line, strong through the core and the arms. Float your right leg up. Draw the knee in, tap towards the left elbow, the right elbow, lift. Left, right, 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 lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Drop back to 4-point kneeling. Float the right knee just off the floor and begin lifting and lowering that whole bent limb up towards hip height and floating back down like a little window wiper or a fire hydrant. Strong through the core, strong through the arms. 2 more. Then ground the right knee and float the left leg long and lengthened behind you. We're coming into our oil riggers. Hug the elbows in towards the midline as you think of doing a push-up. Hovering your chin and your chest just off the floor, keeping that left leg long and extended behind you and pulling the belly button tightly in towards the center line as you play. Let's do 4 more. Keep hugging those elbows in towards the center line. Ease your way from here back into a high kneeling frame. Shoulders, hips, knees in a nice long line. Dip off the center line, coming into your side stretch and float back to your start position. Beautifully soft through the arms. Almost think of them as being feather light and floating up on a breeze and back down to your start position. Let's do 2 more. Then we're going to set up that slow push-up. Ease your way back into your 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. Float the feet off the mat, maybe crossing at the ankles. And you're going to give me a slow push-up. 5 push-ups. Bending through the elbows, coming down as slow as you can so that you can feel that burn through the arms. And slow as you come back to your start position. Almost think of running a slow motion movie reel, coming down as slowly as you can to the mat. And then peeling back to your start position. Strong through the arms, strong through the core. As you come down on your last one, extend the legs long and lengthened behind you and ease your way onto the belly, extending the arms long and lengthened in front of you. Find your little Superman line, rolling that marble away to hover your arms and your legs long and lengthened off the floor, bottom 3 ribs heavy into the mat, hip bones digging into the mat. Reach, tap the wall in front of you and the wall behind you. Then swim freestyle. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Float, whisper softly back down to the mat. Bend the left arm, brace into the mat, flip over onto your back. Realign yourself in the middle of the mat. Bend the knees and connect the soles of the feet, arms long and lengthened at your side. Beginning neutral spine. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, tilt the pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Scoop and hold. Floating the arms long and lengthened, hovering just off the mat to reach with your fingertips as if you were trying to reach for the edge of your mat. Hold that strong contraction in your core. Ease your way softly back down to the mat and set up your dead bug. Bending the right leg, right hand to knee, push and resist, and float and extend on the left side. Then cycle through, changing it up, working with slow control, bending and resisting on the one side while floating in extension on the opposite side, keeping your head and your shoulders heavy into the mat. Let's do one more set, then we'll come back into our scoop and maybe making it a hollow hold this time. Scoop to peel up, holding, feet connected, or hover the legs, making a soft, almost U-like frame through the body, bracing through the core and reaching long and lengthened through your fingertips and your toes, trying to hold for at least 10 seconds if you can. Then softly hug the knees in towards the chest, cradle rock your body out, and roll back over to set up your 4-point kneeling line on the mat. This time, as you come into the plank, you could open up the arms and the legs maybe a little bit wider so that you've got a wider frame to support you on the mat. We're going to start playing with the arms and the legs. Find your wide plank. You're going to tap the left hand to the right shoulder and reach the arm out in front. Swim it behind you, swim it back. Tap on the opposite side. Reach, swim, and back. You're going to keep rinsing and repeating, tapping towards the shoulder, then reaching the arm out in front of you before arcing or swimming it behind you as if you wanted to touch your bottom, and then float back to your start position. Don't be afraid to maybe take your foot stance a little bit wider than you usually would, maybe just inside of mat width would be a good position. Keep nice and strong through the core. Tapping before you reach and scoop, and then swimming or floating back to your start position. As you complete your last one, come back into a high kneeling frame on the mat, either keeping the arms long and lengthened at your side or tucking the hands behind your head in a surrender-like fashion with the elbows wide. Step up on the left and then step down on the left. Stepping up and down. Shooting for between 5 and 10 repetitions. If you find that this stepping up and down is too much for you, stay with a little side stretch, but try to keep the hands behind your head. Don't hold the breath. Keep your breath flowing. Once you've done 10 step-ups and back down again, you're going to find your way back into your push-up line, and I will give you a modification on this one in case you need it. Find your way back to your wide plank line. You're going to give me a tap to each shoulder and then a small push-up. Tap, small push-up. If you find that this is too much, you can execute from 4-point kneeling, tapping the shoulders and then just giving me a small bend, almost as if you were trying to drop the forearms or the elbows towards the mat. So either playing from 4-point kneeling or playing from your wide plank. Shooting for 10 repetitions if you can. Once you've done 10, you're going to drop back to the knees. This time, keep the arms long and lengthened at your side as you step up. Give me one roll down. and step back down. Step it up, roll it down and up to step back down. If this is too much for you, you're going to stay with your side stretch, keeping the arms softly on the tops of your thighs as you dip off the center line. Pick your poison and shoot for a nice flowing motion, whether you're stepping up and rolling it down and up before stepping back down, or whether you're electing to stay with the side stretch. Make sure if you are moving dynamically on the mat that you're controlling through the core and the spine the whole time. All right, last one. Then we're going to come back to our wide plank line on the mat. So the next time you step down, ease your way back into your wide plank. You're going to give me a tap to each elbow, one mini push-up, and then a mountain climber. Tap, push-up, draw the knee in as if you wanted to tap the armpit, yeah? Tap, push-up, knee draw. Tap, push-up, knee draw. Tap, push-up, knee draw. And you could execute from full point kneeling. Tap, little push-up, and just think of giving me a soft contraction through the core as you think of drawing your knee in as if you wanted to almost tap the belly button. Pick your poison. Shooting for as many flowing repetitions as you can comfortably manage. Once you've done your repetitions, drop into your kneeling frame, this time tucking the hands behind your head in that surrender-like fashion. You're going to step up, then from your standing frame, you're going to give me opposite elbow to knee and step back down. Step it up, opposite elbow to knee, step it down. If this is too much for you, you're going to stay with your side stretch, dipping just off the center line and floating back, and then just giving me a soft twist as you come back to center. Pick your poison and find a steady rhythm of your own. Keep your breath flowing. Nice exhale as you cross over the midline of the body, thinking knee to elbow. Keep those hands tucked behind your head, elbows nice and wide. Let's do one more. Then we're going to find our way back into a plank line, but this time on the elbows. Find your way onto the forearms, fingertips looking towards the front of the mat. Step your legs back and hold steady for a count of 10. Body line as parallel to the mat as you can. Core braced, legs engaged. 5, 4, 3, 2. Begin dipping side to side through the hip bones. Hold your plank steady. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Little dip side to side Dropping one hip bone to the floor, floating back to your start position and alternating with fluidity. Hold 10, 8, your forearms should be quivering. 5, 4, 3, 2. Draw into a 4-point kneeling frame. Peel up to sit back on your heels. Scooch off to one side and then set yourself up in a high seated frame towards the top end of your mat. We're going to roll it down. If you need a little bit of padding, roll up a towel and place that little sausage more or less where your lower back is going to imprint as you come down into the mat. We're going to play up the roll down today once we get going. Start sitting up nice and tall, feet hip width distance apart, and float the arms out in front of you, reaching long and lengthened through your fingertips. Begin with your chin parallel to the floor. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, nod your chin to your chest, hollow out your belly, and peel down one vertebra at a time, floating the arms overhead. Then brace through your feet, zipper up through your inner thighs, look down towards your belly button and peel back up. Nod your chin to your chest, roll down, and roll up. Working with control through the spine and the core and keeping your gaze towards your belly button. Stay or play. The next time you roll up, give me a soft twist to the left, center, right, center. Nod your chin to your chest, peel down, peel back up, twist left, twist right, and roll it back down. The whole time you're keeping the arms long and lengthened, almost as if you were reaching through the fingertips to try and tap the walls as you play. Remember to keep your gaze inward on the roll down and the roll up so that you're looking towards your belly button line and not towards the ceiling as you roll down, but more importantly, as you roll back up. Keep reaching long and lengthened, not only through the fingertips, but through the spine when you find your seated frame, and come back up. Keep reaching through those arms. Just keeping the arms long and lengthened should be fatiguing them after our little push-up sequence. Let's do 2 more sets. And once more, I'm setting a moderate pace, but you could speed it up or slow it down as long as you're working with control through the spine as you're playing. On your last roll down, ease your way onto the mat. And if you do have padding underneath your back, just bend the knees, slip the padding out. Keep the knees bent and the soles of the feet on the floor as if you were setting up a bridge line. Arms are long and lengthened at your side. We're going to play up a little toe tap line, and we'll use 3 variants of the toe tap today. Draw your legs up into a tabletop line. Don't pull the knees in too close to your chest. Just have them more or less stacking over your knees. You're going to alternate tapping the right big toe and the left big toe to the mat. Don't just tap here by your bottom or you won't be feeling much. Keep the integrity of the 90-degree angle behind your knee and hinge from your hip as if you were trying to reach with the tip of your toe and not your heel for the edge of the mat. You should be feeling the work in your lower belly area, not your lower back. If you're feeling the lower back, tuck your hands, palms down underneath your bottom for support. Stay here with the singles or begin doubling up, tapping both toes together and back. Both toes together and back. If reaching all the way for the floor is not for you, just give me a halfway drop and come back. Sync your movement to your breath. Let's do 4 more doubles and then we'll change it up. Last one. Keeping your tabletop position, think of dragging the right big toe along the mat, extending the leg and drawing back in, and then repeating that pattern on the left. So you're almost but not quite. Drawing that big toe along the mat, almost hovering the big toe just off the mat to extend and then draw back to your start position. Looking for that nice little contraction in the core as the knee draws back in towards your original start line. Keeping the other leg floating and hovering in table as you play. The head and the arms stay connected to the mat. Keep your breath flowing, don't hold your breath. Let's see if we can do 2 more sets, and then we'll play up a tick-tock. Last set. As you complete your last one and draw back to table, extend the legs long and lengthened. Arms are at your side or hands tucked underneath the bum for support. Take your left leg just off center, pause, allow the right leg to follow it, and then draw both legs together back to center. Open up the right leg, left leg follows, both legs back. Open up left, right leg follows, both legs back. Open up right, left leg follows, both legs back. Find a steady rhythm of your own, leading with one leg, allowing the other leg to follow, and then drawing both legs back to center. I'm setting a moderate pace. Find a rhythm that works for you and allows you to work with control. Don't rush through the movement. You want to feel that tug, not only through the obliques, but a fair amount of work in the lower belly area as you play with that modified tick-tock. Keep your head connected to the mat. Keep your chin line soft. Watch that you're not tensing through the jawline or the neckline. Keep it soft. Let's do 1 more set to each side. Last one. As you draw back, gently draw your legs back into table. Place your hands palms down on the knees and just trace 2 circular patterns with the knees away from each other, allowing your lower back and your sacrum area to just relax into the mat. Maybe drawing a few circles in one direction and then changing it up and working the release in the opposite direction. Rock up into a seated position, coming into Sukhasana, easy sit. Let's begin. Let's start with the left leg in front of the right. So just tucking the heels in towards the perineum as close as you can. Sitting up nice and tall with your hands palms down on the knees. Looking for that anchoring through your sit bones and your length through the spine. Take a big breath in as you drop your shoulders away from your ears. And on a long exhale, twist to the left, grabbing opposite hand to knee and holding that twist. Long and lengthened through the spine, both bum bones equally weighted into the mat. Hold the twist here, bracing your supportive hand on the mat behind you. And then ease your trunk back to center line and cross the right arm over the midline, hugging with your left hand, hugging your bicep and your tricep in towards your chest line. Keep reaching long and lengthened through your right fingertips. Then float the right arm overhead, placing the hand palm down between the 2 shoulder blades. And maybe reaching overhead for that right elbow and tucking it in as close as you can towards the center line, keeping your chin line nice and soft, maybe looking down towards the mat. And then unbind the hands, maybe bracing them softly on the mat behind you, and cross the left foot over the right knee. Wriggling your right foot out of the way so that both of your bum bones are still connected to the mat and you're not floating. You're going to twist to the left, hugging right arm to left leg and just hugging that whole limb in towards your center line. Stay here or find your way into a little cow face stretch by floating your right arm overhead, placing it palm down between the two shoulder blades. Reach overhead with the left arm and tuck that elbow in towards the center line, keeping your chin line soft. Stay here or take the bind underhand by floating the left arm behind you and then trying to reach both sets of fingertips towards each other, pulling up with the one hand and tugging down with the other hand to find that little stretch through the arms. Then softly unbind, extend the legs long and lengthened in front of you, give them a little wiggle out, and repeat that sequence on the other side, tucking back into your easy sit, this time leading with the right leg in front of the left. Find your long line through the spine first, anchoring through your bum bones and looking for that length through the spine as you drop your shoulders away from your ears. Take a huge breath in, filling your lungs to capacity, and on a long exhale, twist to the right. Cupping opposite hand to knee, pulling with the hand and resisting with the knee so that you can feel the stretch into the trunk. Feel that twist. Keep the spine as long and lengthened as you can manage. Ease your way back to center. Cross the left arm over the chest, reaching with your right palm for your bicep and tricep and hugging it in towards your chest line while you keep the left arm long and lengthened. Then release that hold and float the left arm overhead to place the hand palm down between your two shoulder blades, keeping your chin line soft and your neckline long. Reach the right arm overhead, reach for that left elbow and tuck or hug it in towards the center line, holding the stretch here. Then unbind the hands, maybe place the fingertips on the mat behind you and step the right foot over the left knee, grounding through that foot, wiggling your left foot out the way and making space for both of your bum bones. Then twist to the right, hugging that lead leg in towards your chest as you gently come into the twist. Either staying here or floating your left arm overhead and placing the hand palm down between the two shoulder blades, reaching overhead for the elbow, tucking it in towards the center line, or taking the bind underhand in a little cow face grip, pulling down with the bottom hand and tugging up with the top hand. Then gently unbinding, peel your way back up into a standing frame, arms long and lengthened at your side, and just give me 2 or 3 roll downs from the parallel line, nodding your chin to your chest, keeping your arms long and dangling, and as you come down, maybe just giving me a quick release through the arms before you peel back up to your start position. Nod your chin to your chest as you roll down. Work your circular release in the opposite direction, just tracing a big circular motion with both arms. Peeling back up. Let's do 2 more. Nod your chin to your chest, peel it down, almost hanging in a little tabletop line, tracing that circular release through the arms. Keeping the weight distribution equal on your feet. So weight placement is equal between the balls and the heels of your feet. Last one. Nod your chin to your chest, bring it down with control through the core and the spine, and work your circular release in the opposite direction. Weight bearing equal between the balls and the heels. Peel back up to your start position and end off your practice for today. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed today's class. Do give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and remember to share your comments and your feedback with me. I shall see you all for yoga on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.